Hello, everybody. Welcome back, really, to Bayou Sugar Garden. Our part two of today, continuing our conversation and just checking everything to make sure we good to go. I see we are still live on Facebook and YouTube. So we're going to just pick up where we left off. Hey, Deborah Garrett, welcome in. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you. For those of you who didn't catch the first part, welcome in. Don't forget, if you are on the YouTube or Facebook side, make sure you hit that thumbs up for me, hit that like button, and comment back and forth with me. Let me know what your experiences are, how you liking the information. If you agree, disagree, this is not uh information that's set in stone that is gospel truth. It just happened to be proven to be working for a whole lot of people. And so I'm just sharing this information with you guys. Also, let me give this disclaimer before I continue with the video. I am not your doctor. I am a medical professional, but I am not your medical professional. I am not giving you medical advice. I am simply telling you what works for me. All the information that I'm giving, I have researched, and it is being used for educational and entertainment purposes only. Please consult your medical provider, i.e., doctor, before making any changes to your medications, diet, or whatever. Okay? So let me upload our video, and we're going to just start right where we left off. Hope you guys were able to go and grab you a snack real quick, because this about to get real good. I told y'all before we left that it's probably about to piss off some parents when they find this out, but hey, you need to know, and you rather know than not know, right? So I mean, we may have failed our kids at this point, but we can still save the generation to come. So let's get on with the video, like Miss Linda say. The New Orleans gardener.
On it.
What is an obesogen?
So obesogens are chemicals that are allowed in our food that turn, well, they do two things, but the big thing that I'm really focused on right now is they turn our stem cells into fat cells.
And what is a stem cell?
Great question. So a stem cell is a cell that can go anywhere in the body, and it can,
Hey,
it
hold
can
on,
repair
guys. Hold
anything.
on.
It can make it.
Hold on. Give me 1 second. Okay, y'all. Sorry. I'm back. I was cooking something for my son and for me, and 15 minutes just wasn't long enough for me to get his stuff and my stuff done. And then my nose started running. Okay, so let's go back. She's talking about obesity. I'm on mute. Thank you for being here, Terrence, Mr. Gray Sweats. I appreciate you. Thank you for being here. Let's see. Let's continue on. She was talking about obesogen.
Anything. So it's like a universal cell. It can
Okay.
do anything. It can make an eyeball, it can make an ankle. And you have a ton of them when you're little, and you lose them after about 30. You don't lose them completely, but you start to get less of them.
And they're a good thing. Production of stem cells is a good thing.
Yeah. They're a stem cell is a great thing. So one of my favorite is a tough word to say. One of the most interesting reviews that I've seen on obesogens was put out by Science for Public Interest, Citizen Science for Public Interest. It's a beautiful PDF. And basically, it has list after list and study after study of these obesogens and all the ways that they are altering our stem cells and turning them into, reprogramming them into these fat cells. And all the different ways that the obesity crisis we are seeing right now in our children comes from these chemicals that are allowed in our food. And then it lists list after list after list of everything that we are putting into food, that we are lathering our body, is in our chemical environment, and how these massive influx of chemicals is contributing to obesity, and specifically in a younger generation.
Excuse me, but I want to say that pay attention that she said the chemicals are changing your cells, changing your cells into fat cells. And we learned in the other video that we're going to continue tonight that it matters what type of fat cells you have, which causes you to be unhealthy. And just because you look at a person on the outside, you can't tell that they are healthy, whether they're fat or skinny. It depends on the makeup of their fat cells. If you are a fat person, and forgive me for saying that, somebody might get offended. If you are a overweight person, then doesn't mean that looking at you that you are unhealthy. You could be an overweight person but have skinny fat cells. If you are an overweight person and you have skinny fat cells, then you're healthy. If you're an overweight person and you have fat cells, then you're unhealthy. That means you have some kind of disease process going on in your body. If you're a skinny person and you have skinny fat cells, then you're healthy. If you're a skinny person and you have fat cells, then that means you're unhealthy. You have some type of disease going on in your body. Just want to make that clear. So she's telling you guys that the chemicals that we're eating is causing us to have fat cells. That's the effect of chemicals.
Now, let's zoom out. Let's zoom out, big picture. What's happening in our culture right now? Our culture is like, obesity is a problem.
Just so you know, a person with fat cells causes inflammation. So hence, that doesn't mean that you're fat. It just means that you have some swelling going on inside of your body somewhere with one of your systems. So if you have fat cells and you have inflammation in your cardiovascular system, then you could present to the doctor, or you may have signs and symptoms of high blood pressure, high cholesterol, um, stenosis. Um, if you have fat cells in your brain, you have inflammation in your brain, then that presents as Alzheimer's, dementia, things like that. I just wanted to make sure I mentioned that. Give me 1 second, guys. All right. Okay. I just wanted to make sure I explain that so that people, I just wanted to make sure I explain that so that people can understand. Hey, God's Desire for Me. Welcome in. One time for God's Desire for Me. She says, that's why it is important to detox and reset your system. Exactly. Exactly. So when you fast, and thank you for bringing that point out, God's Desire for Me. When you fast, it gets those chemicals out of your body and it causes your body to reset itself and get rid of those, make those fat cells skinny cells, which means that it's causing you to become, but it causes your fat cells to become skinny cells, which meaning your body becomes more insulin sensitive. It starts to react like it's supposed to insulin. So you don't be insulin resistant. Hey LGG, welcome in. Thank you for being here. Mike made it back. Welcome back, Mike. Welcome back. One time for Mike coming back. All right, guys, let's continue. Shall we? We shall.
We went from an immune system problem to really understand we have an obesity problem, and across many countries. And it's not just in adults, it's in kids. Does that mean that every single person that is obese right now is undisciplined? I argue no. It's because what we are eating is reprogramming our cells to make fat cells. And now we've come up with a drug to be able to solve that problem. That's a huge beef for me. That is at the core of that is wrong.
Why?
We haven't gotten to the root cause. Let's fix the food system. We have to fix the food system. If we don't fix the food system, we are going to have problems beyond obesity. We're going to have cancer problems. We're going to have anxiety problems. We're going to have, all the brain challenges that come with that. They're excitotoxins, toxins that rev up the nervous system. Just ask any parent who's ever gave their child a Go-Gurt. What was their mood? They might have been happy eating it, but how were they within the next couple hours afterwards? Bouncing off the walls is an excitotoxin.
It's an interesting point that, okay, we might be skinny, but we might still be suffering with the cancers and the,
Yep.
I don't know, the ADHDs and stuff like that,
Yeah,
things that are linked to our diets.
Yep.
So we just said that. I just explained that. So what I want to say is that's crazy what she said. Like instead of them fixing the diet, fixing the food, first off, they make the food unhealthy on purpose to cause you to be sick. Then when you get sick, they offer you a drug to take, not to get you well, but to help with the symptoms that they've caused from the food that they're feeding you to get sick. Instead of instead of fixing the food system, they'll just give you a medication to help you live and cope with the symptoms that they've caused. How crazy is that, right? But that's what, in essence, what they're doing.
So we might be skinny, but we might appear to be healthy on the surface,
right.
and we might not have the, I don't know, the type 2 diabetes or whatever.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean we're going to be any better.
73% of Americans right now are overweight or obese. So the skinny population is going away very quickly. I did a research for England here recently because I'm speaking at a conference this weekend. It's like 64% of people in England are either overweight or obese. We've got
Crazy.
30% of our children, like not teenagers, like children that are under 13 and under are obese. And we have 50% of teenagers that are obese. We have a chemical problem. We have an obesogen problem that needs to be addressed. So my biggest beef is that we came up with Ozempic. Okay, phenomenal temporary solution. Can we please get to the root cause? And that's what's not being addressed. And the media, the way the information gets put out there is we don't understand why. Yes, we do. We understand why. And we just don't want to address the why. There's too much money in the food industry to change that. And that is criminal. And as a parent, I am not okay with that. Even though my kids are beyond that point, but it is something that every parent should be irate about. And the only way we're going to change that is we vote with our dollars.
We set up to fail from the beginning. They advertise these foods as healthy for your kids, and we just trust our government because that's what they are supposed to do. They're supposed to do what's best for us. But we see for years they haven't. God's desire says so sad that for years we were tricked for many years with all these chemical based foods. Yes, so much. And my thing is she was saying that this is not just an American thing, that your health wise, even though people in other areas may not accept things that we make here in the United States that are chemically, because of our regulations may be different from over there, but they still suffer from diseases over there in their areas, so in other countries. So that means that something is going on in their food system as well, and I know it's the other things besides their food that's going on over there that's making them healthy, making them unhealthy. But my thing is, this is a worldwide global problem, and if I'm correct me if I'm wrong, but they meet. We have different representatives that meet every however often they meet for every country in this world. They come together and they meet and they discuss things like this. You can't tell me they didn't know and couldn't come up with a solution. They've known this for years. And you mean to tell me there wasn't somebody or enough people in there to come together to say, let's stop doing this. Let's make a difference. Like, how could how did we get here? Who agreed to allow this to happen? And who is still agreeing to allow this to continue to happen? That's when I'm like, yeah, That's what I'm like. Yeah, it's all for money. It is. It is. So you mean to tell me like all these different countries in this world, and I know we have all these different countries and we don't have a representative from each country. It's probably, I think it's like 12 representatives that go to the meeting for I think it's called the United Nations meeting, and it's a handful of people. It's not like we got 100 people in there in that room discussing and making plans or whatever. It's just a small group of people making decisions. And you mean to tell me if it was 10 of them, you mean to tell me 5 out of them 10 couldn't stand up and say something? You mean to tell me at least half of them was saying, I don't know. It just don't make sense to me. Like we don't have nobody to stand up for right. Like everybody was saying, yeah, kill them all just so we can make some money. Everybody was able to be bribed. Like even I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Let's keep going. Let's see what Mike say. If you read private note, wait, let me go back because as I say, it's the bait and switch to keep you distracted from what is really happening. Once they get you addicted, right? They know they have you, and that's this the thing. This the thing. They get us addicted, and then they have to keep covering it, and they doing it well because look how old we are, and we just not understanding. And who's to say I don't know. It just took a while for us to get there. So that just show you that it's possible. But they got it locked down so hard that it's hard to break through walls for you to understand. And it takes a whole lot of effort to get to the point to where we are now. And it shouldn't be like that. Mike said, if you read private notes from these meetings, it's profit and crowd control. They only want cures and health for them, not us. Wow. You can't keep a people under your thumb if they healthy. Yeah. 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 Man, it just make you it just make you think just how corrupt we are because if it's like that from the top, from the people that has to make the decisions for the whole world, y'all just that greedy that you willing to kill the whole world just so you can have more money.
And we start to buy our kids natural, healthy, real food that doesn't have these obesogens in them.
What does that world look like? If I gave you a magic wand and I said, okay, you're going to be the president of the entire world and you can implement any rule as it relates to food, that you want, what do you do day one?
Day one, we implement an education system.
Okay.
A body and a food education system. So we empower the individual and we teach them metabolic switching. Now, for kids, we can put that one aside because I'm not advocating for kids to fast, but I am advocating for kids to understand their blood sugar.
Why not kids fasting?
Well, we have the tricky part of eating disorders. So I'm a fan of a child who's under 13, teaching them their own natural rhythm with food. So what happens is we say kitchen closes at 7, breakfast is the most important meal. You only have a lunch break from 12 to 1 at school, so you got to eat that then. So we take that intuitive sense that kids should get around when I'm hungry and when I'm not hungry, and we completely make that go away. So I would start to bring in a more intuitive sense and help educate. I mean, kids, if we're talking about kids right now, help educate them on what it means to be hungry when and find their own internal guidance system there. With adults, here's what I would do day one. I would put continuous glucose monitors on every person on the planet. And I would say, okay, eat. Just eat. And let's see what your response is. That would change every single person's relationship to food. Eat your favorite foods, eat the foods you don't like, eat them all, and look at the glucose response. And now you see the logical consequence of that.
I see what she's saying, but some people gonna see that as an invasion of privacy. Like they gonna be like, "That ain't your business." But I understand her intention. I really do. They only want us healthy enough to work for them. Yeah, they got private gardens and food. Yet we get chemicals and rules on growing. Yeah, you right, Mike. You right. You right. And it's sad when that's our God given right and they taking it from us.
That would be so powerful if we could do that. And then the next thing I would do is I would outlaw chemicals in our food. Completely outlaw. Like no more. Let's go back to real food.
All chemicals.
All chemicals.
If I go into a supermarket, what do I see?
Oh, thank you. You see fruits and vegetables, and when you look at them, they're not shiny. They're not all the same size. They're all different sizes. Some are a little bit less ripe. They're not all unripe. Some of them are more ripe. They look like something that came out of your backyard garden. Ugly, like very different. I would have, for people who want to eat meat, and I'm a fan of people eating meat, I would have healthy meat that hasn't been pumped with antibiotics, hasn't been pumped with growth hormone, healthy meat. I would have eggs from not just chickens, but ducks we get a variety of eggs in there. If we could have breads, I'm not opposed to breads. Maybe there's sourdough breads and fermented foods, but this grocery store that we would create in the future, all of these foods would actually spoil within a week.
Not great for business.
Not great for business, which is why we don't see it.
I want to talk to you about our sponsor, LinkedIn. For all of the entrepreneurs and business owners that listen to this podcast, you'll probably want to hear this one, so stay tuned for a second. Whenever you're scaling and building a business, your business needs are completely unique. And I've been there.
We talked about stem cell production. Does stem cell production increase if I fast?
The longer in the longer fast, yeah.
Is that
3 days is the research was 24 hours for gut repair, so you get intestinal stem cells. But for systemic stem cells, 3 days, 72 hours.
And those systemic stem cells can do what for me?
They can go anywhere in your body and repair anything.
You hear that? It repair anything. Okay, let me give y'all this. Let me bring this home. Let me put this in easier terms. Like in 3 days, she's systemic. That means any system in your whole body. Your body is made up of different systems: your nervous system, your immune system, your cardiovascular system, your skeletal system, your muscular system, lymphatic system. All these different systems make up your whole body and they work together, right? In 3 days, if you fast for 3 days, and I'm not saying 3 days consecutively, like don't eat for 3 days. I'm just saying a form of fasting for 3 days, you can reverse, basically cure anything, 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 cancer, AIDS, anything, anything. It can be done. And yet they got us sold on taking medications, giving you chemotherapy for cancer. Really? Radiation and all of that, when all you need to do is fast. Mike said we need birds that eat bugs and plants that they forage. Those chemicals that say their birds are what? Those chemicals. Oh, those commercials. I'm saying those chemicals. Those commercials that say their birds are vegan makes me mad. I'm so stuck on this chemical stuff. I see Mike said commercials, and I'm reading chemicals. What he say? Those commercials that say their birds are vegan makes me mad. I got it, Mike. I got it. But y'all, she is telling you, you can reverse anything. I don't care if you went to the doctor on Friday. If you just got released from the ER today, tonight, if you sitting in the ER now, urgent care, listening to me, and they told you you got this, you got that, you got blood clots, you got hemophilia, you got whatever it is, your body will reset itself. Hence, resetting means make these stem cells, and these stem cells will go over your body and repair you.
So if I have a toe injury, I had a toe injury recently. I played this football match called Soccer Aid. I was thinking in the lead up to it, I really need to make sure that my toe is healed because it had some like inflammation. The joint had I think I'd almost dislocated it. I was thinking, it did cross my mind. Did cross my mind. Maybe I should fast for a couple of days to help accelerate the repair so that I can play in this big football match, which was in London, almost 50,000 people there on this particular day, which was about 2 weeks away.
I'm gonna tell y'all, this reminded me of my son. He had came home the week before we started doing the hashtag natural sugar in January before we started. And he came home with a sprained ankle. And I told him, I said, hey, gardening is great. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. So he came home and he was telling me, well, it was a couple of days before that. So he came home and told me about the sprained ankle. And immediately my mind was like, sprained ankle, that ain't nothing but inflammation. If he abstained from the sugar, for a couple of days, and I was saying in my mind 3 days, and do his water and eat, he'll be okay. So we started our natural sugar diet, which was maybe like a day or so after he asked me that or whatever. I don't remember the exact time, but we followed the no added sugar. We didn't even do the fasting and the carbs thing then. We just abstained from sugar. And his ankle healed faster than it would have had he not been doing that. And while we were doing it, he felt better than he had been feeling. He's been playing basketball for years, but he had more energy during those few weeks that he did it with me. He had more energy and didn't have any injuries during that time. Now, when he stopped doing it, as soon as he stopped doing it, maybe a week after, he ended up with another sprained ankle. Now, I told him, I said, you went back to eating that sugar. If you would have stayed off of it, you would have been fine. So when he was doing it, he was at his most optimal self. So I can't amen.
So would fasting help me in that situation?
The story I always use is that I had an Achilles tendon injury, and I tried everything, and it was not healing. I couldn't work out. It was really bumming me out. And so my last resort, I was like, okay, let me throw a 3-day water fast at it. On the third day, I just started to notice that the pain was a little less. And a lot of that is just because the inflammation's coming down, the stem cells were starting to kick in. By the end of the third day, I'm like, I think the pain's 50% gone. So I thought, let me stick with this, and how long can I go until the pain's completely gone? So I ended up going 5 full days in a fasted state. On the 5th day, the pain was completely gone, and to this date, it has never come back. What happened? That has to be stem cells being active in my body, going in there and repairing that Achilles tendon. I didn't do anything that week. I didn't take supplements. I didn't do any fancy treatments. I literally went into a 5-day water fast, and my body figured out how to get the stem cells to where they needed to go.
Is there any scientific support for this idea that fasting can accelerate repair and heal injury?
Musculoskeletal wise, I have not seen that correlation. Stem cell wise, we have several studies. Walter Longo was the researcher who showed that the whole immune system gets rebooted when a 3-day water fast.
Cos's eyes, amen in that. She said the energy and focus I had during fasting was phenomenal. I know that's right. And J3 is back. Welcome back, J3. Welcome back. Whether they have research on paper or not, and I'm pretty sure they done tested it, but they don't want to document it, and I'm pretty sure they know. We got proof right here because we doing it. So we don't need no proof. We know it worked.
He went on to try different types of fasting. One of them is the fast mimicking diet he created, which is like a calorie restriction. So there's a little bit lower calorie restriction diet. And he did it with people who were type 1 diabetics. And he had 5 days once a month for 3 months. He had them do this extreme calorie restriction, and he had some requirements around protein. He wanted to keep them in a state of autophagy, so he kept protein under 20 grams. And what he found after 3 months is that the pancreatic cells were actually starting to regrow themselves from that style of fasting. It's called the fast mimicking diet.
Which is just calorie restriction.
Just calorie, less than 800. 800 calories, less than 20 grams of protein.
It must be pretty easy to test this because you could theoretically bring in a group of, 100 people and, give them a little cut or a little pinprick or something.
Yeah.
And then put them on different diets and see how quickly they healed from that cut or whatever.
You would think, yeah. I think you could probably do it and really look at it that way. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure. And I haven't done a specific PubMed search just on musculoskeletal repair and fasting. You have me thinking, so I'm going to put my researchers on it, and then I'll send you what I find.
Great.
I need to send her an email to let her know. Hold, excuse me, one second, y'all. Look, just while y'all was while I was explaining to y'all how I could be, I need to send her an email so I can let her know what's going on, and she don't have to do no test study. I'll be one of her guinea pigs and show her what I did, and she could write a book off of it. As far as the musculoskeletal system, I'm gonna say this. I notice when I do the no sugar and stuff, I notice my body, like before I started it, if I sit down for too long, I would have to get up and then have to move, stretch my body out before I could just get up and walk. Now I don't have that problem. I can sit any kind of way for periods of time and just get up and like I'm 16 again. I can just get up and move. It doesn't bother me. But before then, and even before the fast, I mean, even after the fasting, it's even better. Because after I've been doing the no sugar for about a month and a half, when I noticed when I got a hold to something that had sugar in it or something that I shouldn't have had, every now and then I get those aches and pains. But with this intermittent fasting, it resets my body, so I don't get those pains anymore because I'm fasting long enough time to give my body long enough to heal itself. So I don't feel those pains. God in His grace say, I removed certain veggies from my diet and my knees are no longer hurting. Yes, I would recommend this for people who have suffer from arthritis. Hey, everyone, clean up my mess. You cleaning up your mess? So, guys, if you have arthritis, no matter what kind, rheumatoid, whatever, if you have arthritis, do this intermittent fasting. It will help heal that
Right, because I'd love to know. I was
disease.
throwing everything at my bloody toe. I was like icing it and putting it up in the air to try and get the. People told me that helped inflammation, and eventually in the lead up to the game, I took ibuprofen and some like anti-inflammatories, which I absolutely never take. I never take any medication because I was just trying to throw everything at it. So it would have been good to know in the future that if I have some kind of injury, that fasting might be, that long stage fasting might be useful.
I mean, we see people, we get so many like comments of people like joints move better when they're like a couple of days into a fast. So, you have to remember the whole inflammatory system starts to come down. And so there's a body that just is in more ease. But I'd be curious for you to try it.
What about, you mentioned protein there.
Mm-hmm.
There's this term I saw, which was protein cycling. And I don't really know what that means, but I was hoping maybe you could enlighten me.
Where did you see that?
I saw that protein cycling is a useful part of your weight loss regime. I was reading an article about it.
So let's talk about protein in general. Definitely protein is the hero macronutrient of the day. Like there's no doubt protein, we need more protein. And I really like this idea of, and the research supports it. There's experts out there that are talking about it that I think is phenomenal. And I like this idea of making sure you have at least 30 grams of protein, especially at your first meal. It opens up a amino acid sensor system that now makes your muscles very grabby and receptive to all other protein that you eat the rest of the day. So I really like that. I also think it's very interesting to figure out how to get 1 gram of protein or 1.5 grams of protein for every kilogram of body weight, or 1 to 2 grams of protein for every pound of body weight you want to be. So your ideal weight. Okay. Let's say you're 130 pounds. So you would need 130 grams of protein. So how are you going to get that in a day? Now, some people are like, I'll just eat a big steak and I'll get it in all in one go. But what I have seen is that for some people, when they eat a lot of protein, their body can't take the influx in one meal. And so it turns to excess glucose, which then turns to extra fat. So I'm a fan of dosing it in. You do 30 grams here, 50 grams there, 70 grams there. There was old research, this has now been updated, but there was old research showing that the pulsing in, they call it protein cycling, actually was the best way to get protein into your system that way.
How do you dose it in? Just by eating?
Well, let's put it in applicable terms. So you have a smoothie. Maybe it's got 30 grams, and then a couple of hours later, I'm going to go with the meat world. Like you have a bunch of hard-boiled eggs. Maybe you have like a scrambled eggs. Maybe then 2 hours later, you have a chicken breast on top of some a bed of lettuce.
I heard that, I don't know, this was years ago I heard this, that we can only like process 20 grams of protein a day anyway. So we're all like...
Now, I want to put into perspective, you guys, that she's giving you the recommendation for this meat. This is specifically talking about processed meat, okay? Because we know processed meats have chemicals in them. So she's telling you, if you're going to eat processed meat, because you can't raise your own meat, or you have to buy it from somewhere else, and it's possible that has chemicals in it, then she's giving you a recommendation on how much of it to eat. Okay. And Mike said a shot of cider vinegar and turmeric will help Jags with his aches and pains from eating too much sugar.
Having too much protein anyway in our diets.
I think that's changed. I'm not up to speed on like 2024, what we're saying, but I can tell you from the protein experts that are out there, there's a huge push right now to eat more protein because, and it's not 20 grams a day.
I remember someone telling me, because I was back in the day when I was having a lot of protein shakes, they were telling me it doesn't really matter if you drink more protein because your body can only process like 20 grams a day. So it's just going to poop it out or convert it to glucose. And
I'm going to go back to what I've seen clinically. that some people eat protein and they all of a sudden, this is women. Again, I should probably be more, women is really my specialty. So when I look at women eating more protein, a lot of them, especially the younger women, all of a sudden, like their workouts are better, they grow muscle better, like they really love that extra protein. I've also seen women who are going through the perimenopausal years that are really metabolically unhealthy, and they jump on this protein idea and they start eating too much protein and they minimize carbs and they just start gaining weight. And so it's because there's just too much glucose in the system and that they're not insulin sensitive yet. And so that's just turning, that extra protein is just turning back into more glucose. And when you have extra glucose, the body stores it as fat. So I think we're back at this personalized idea. There's some concepts that are really great. Now you experiment with them and see what works best for you.
How important is our liver in all of this?
Oh, it's the most important.
Really?
Outside the brain. Brain, gut, liver, keep those healthy. Like, keep those really healthy. So liver breaks down hormones. So you need it to break down hormones like thyroid hormone. Let's use thyroid, for example. The brain sends a signal to the thyroid to make TSH, goes to the thyroid, tells the thyroid to make T4.
What's that?
So T4 is a thyroid version of a thyroid hormone. The 4 stands for how many iodine sites it has. T4 is unusable to the cell. So what T4 has to do is it has to go on to the liver and the gut where those two organs conjugate it, convert it, change it into something called T3. T3 is now usable to your cells, and T3 goes into the cell and activates the metabolism and everything the thyroid's supposed to do. If I have poor thyroid health, if my gut is off because I've been on too many antibiotics or birth control, what may end up happening is my thyroid's working fine, my brain's working fine, but it's not converting into a usable format for my cells. Mm-hmm. So there's an example of where a stagnant liver, a liver that's struggling, not healthy, can actually affect how a hormone manifests in your body.
Mm-hmm. So how do I know if my liver's healthy? Is there any symptoms of an unhealthy or toxic liver?
Well, let's go through possibilities. I call them checklists. Okay. And the reason I call them checklists is because they may not apply to everybody. The first question to ask if your liver is healthy is, when you go without food, do you make a ketone?
Okay.
If you don't make a ketone, and you're like, we've had people that are like 20 hours in, 36 hours in, 48 hours in. They're like, I'm still not making a ketone.
How do they know?
Because we have them testing.
Okay.
So little ketone, the continuous glucose monitors, they'll help the blood sugar, but you need a ketone reader.
So they have those available in the stores. If you guys don't know, it's like you can go and buy a ketone kit. And all you have to do is just pee. Is it pee or is it blood? It's pee. You pee in a cup. And what it does is you can get a drop of that. I'm sorry, I'm saying pee. Let me use good terms. Urine. You get it and put it on the dipstick, and depending on what color it changes, you match that color up, and it'll tell you the levels of your ketones. Pee stick. Pee on the stick. Yeah. It measures the levels of ketones in your urine. So you can buy that. That's over the counter. I have a patient, I had a patient. We used to check hers. She had a certain disease of her brain, and her mom was into the holistic route. And hindsight 2020, I used to think about, I didn't know what I knew now, but I used to criticize her in my head, like, why is she doing all this? She had her on the keto diet, and she would check her baby's ketone. Well, she wasn't eating by mouth. She had a keto formula, so she was fed through the G tube. And so she had her on a ketogenic formula base, and she would test her baby's urine. She would pee in the diaper, and then she would take the diaper. Well, we'd have to take the diaper and squeeze the urine out of the diaper, and then test the urine with the ketone kit. I'm thinking, not even knowing what I know now, I'm like, you don't know what chemicals is in that diaper, and we squeezing it and testing it. I mean, to me, it's giving a false reading, but I mean, that's the best she could do. Besides getting having her baby straight cath every now and then to test that urine. But yeah, so you can do that. You don't need a doctor's order for that to test your ketones. So there's two things you can do. You can avoid going to the doctor for if you want to know is your blood sugars and your ketones. Just go into a pharmacy store like Walgreens, CVS, even Walmart, and you can buy those
to help ketones. It's like a little, you prick your finger. Have you ever used one?
No, that's so interesting. I didn't know there was.
Oh, they got blood ones too.
Oh yeah, you should get one.
I never used the blood.
You get a little monitor.
Yeah.
And you prick your finger, and then you put your blood on this little strip, and you put the strip into this little monitor, and it tells you how many ketones you have.
Okay, so more ketones, the better, right?
Yeah.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah. So if you can't make ketones, or you're starving,
I didn't know they had a blood one, but I know they had a P one. I used the P one.
Would be another, or you're, after a long period, you're not feeling the benefits of fasting. That could be because of your liver. So we now have, okay, that's liver issue number one. Okay. Then we can go to things like, how do you process alcohol? Like, you know how there's certain people who, like, you go out to drink with them, and after a couple drinks, they're dancing on the table. And then there's other people that, like, can drink the whole bar and they seem like they're completely normal compared to when they walked in.
Yeah.
So that's liver function. Like, how quickly is that liver metabolizing that alcohol?
Which one is healthy, sorry?
Well, I actually think metabolizing it quickly is better than the stagnant person.
So the person that's hammered,
yeah,
is going to be
yeah.
Okay.
So I mean, there's a lot of nuance in that comment. So just so we don't.
Well, that proves to me my liver is functioning good, because over 10 years ago, let me see, my oldest is, over 10 years ago, I went to the doctor and they told me I had a fatty liver. And I went, I was supposed to go back, but I never went back. But fast forward now, when I drink alcohol, like, I have to drink a lot in order for me to get drunk. Like, a lot. So my liver must be functioning really well. So hence, those of you who can't drink too much might want to get your liver checked. Mike says you can get glucose monitors and keto strips, etc. cheap. No reason not to know. Exactly. Mike say I'm the last man standing. Drinker up. It relaxes me. I don't get drunk. Me neither. I go to sleep, Mike. I go to sleep. We got some good livers, Mike. We got some good livers. Get like us.
Get the whole world coming after you or I on that. So
don't offer me
so
no
it's how
free
quickly
drinks.
are you able to metabolize a toxin in your system and get it out of you. So that would be another one. Then we have some really, really good ones, really like applicable ones. Like, this is based off some old ancient strategies, like corner of your eye. If the inside of your eye is yellow, according to iridology, which is the study of the eye as it relates to health, when the corner of the eye is yellow, that can be a sign of liver stagnation. Okay, another one.
The inside corner.
Yeah.
So next to your nose.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Another one, you can look at the bottom of your feet. So bottom of your feet, when they're dry and cracking, is showing that you're not getting proper circulation down to your feet. And so it can be a possibility that the liver is not doing a good job of detoxing and getting toxins out. So your circulatory system has more sludge in it. So the circulation isn't freely getting down to the bottom of your feet.
Have you ever asked someone to show you their feet?
Oh, yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Feet, eyes, I want to know everything, because it tells you, feet, eyes, I want to know what your menstrual blood, I don't need to see it, but I want to know, is it clumpy? How quickly does the flow come out? These kind of things are so important. How quickly your hair grows, how quickly your nails grow, what's on your nails. Are nails on ridges on your nails? Because that could be minerals. Like, our body gives us a full analysis of what's going on. So I have looked at a lot of feet.
And if I look at my feet now, never just want to take a quick look because I can't remember really looking at the bottom of my feet. What is a sign that my liver is not healthy? Looking at the bottom of my feet,
it's the real dry cracks.
Oh no, mine is soft like a baby's bottom.
There you go.
Because he
Do you
put
want to put it
lotion
up on the
on.
table so I can see
No,
it?
because people will sell pictures.
Oh, that's right.
Where's Albert?
Oh my God.
Albert Miranda? And David Corey, y'all like
Part of the revenue if that happens. So
Yes. Oh
I'm
my
gonna make
God.
that decision
You're
myself.
so accurate.
But, okay, interesting.
So here's a couple. Let's give people a daily routine of what to look at to be able to see like how your body's functioning. So when I get up in the morning, that's one thing I do. I always look I'm periodically, throughout the day looking in the corner of my eyes. Like what is there a yellow tinge in there? So I look at that. I also look at my tongue every morning when I wake up. Do you look at your tongue?
Not really.
Okay. So when you look at your tongue, does it have a white coat on it? If it has a white coat on it, that can be a sign of candida, of too much yeast in your system and your body's detoxing it. You can also look at your tongue when you fast. Sometimes it'll go black. And that's like candida coming out. That's yeast coming out.
So I'm trying to think what they taught us about if you got a white tongue, that's why you need a tongue scraper to scrape that stuff off your tongue. So they sell tongue scrapers instead of telling you, okay, that's a sign that you have an unhealthy liver. Tell me how to heal my liver instead of trying to sell me a tongue scraper or sell me all this toothpaste and mouthwash and all this other stuff telling me that I'm not doing good oral health. And that's why I need that. Or there's bacteria on your tongue. And then that's why you get the smelly breath because of that yeast and stuff on your tongue. It smells bad, but it's because of your unhealthy liver.
So make sure you're looking at your tongue. Every morning I look at my tongue. So, because at night you kind of see what's detoxing out of you.
So if it's white, what do I do? If it's black, what do I do?
So if it's white and black, you have candida. That's a sign of too much yeast in the system. So, fasting can help. Getting off sugar, alcohol, fruits can help. We just find people who fast, especially if you go into longer fasts, it'll start to change. We've even done some interesting community fasts where we have people watch their fast and they decide to break their fast based off what their tongue is doing. So if it's white and it's black and it's getting worse, keep going. If you can keep going until it starts to turn pink. And then the outside of the tongue will actually start to turn pink. And then we know, okay, the yeast is starting to die off. Go ahead and break your fast. Mm-hmm. So that's one way that you can look at the tongue. We already talked about the bottom of the feet, periodically looking at that, your hair and your nails. So do you ever look at like the ridges of your nails?
Yes, Garden is great.
Okay, so when there's a lot of ridges in your nails or how quickly your nails are growing, that can be a sign of mineral deficiency.
Okay.
If your hair is falling out.
So on the nails then, what am I looking for? There's no ridges in my nails. Perfect.
So you probably have a good mineral load.
Okay.
But if you ever look down and you see those ridges, it can be a sign that there is you have too many low minerals.
And what kind of minerals would you then supplement with or focus on?
Yeah, I'm a huge fan right now of organic minerals that come from the earth, like fulvic and humic acid type minerals that are coming from like volcanic ash, because they're very, very rich in minerals that we're not getting in your typical mineral supplement or your food. You know the whole thing about conventional farming and how it's depleting the minerals in our soils, right?
No.
I feel like this is going to get really depressing really quick.
That's fine.
You want me to tell?
I'd rather know the truth.
Okay. So the soils that are being monocropped, where they're being tilled over and over again, not from regenerative farms, what we know now is that they are deficient in minerals. So the way that it's being expressed to people is the broccoli you have now has less vitamin and mineral content than the broccoli you had 10, 20, 30 years ago because of how the farmers are taking care of the soil. Now, you go to a regenerative farm where there's bugs, there's weeds, they don't spray. When a crop grows, they let it die, they don't till. That has more minerals. So when you are actually eating food from regenerative farms, you're getting the minerals that you need into your system. So when people look at their nails not growing, they look at the ridges, a good question if you don't want to take a mineral supplement is ask yourself, am I eating foods from a regenerative farm? Am I eating fruits and vegetables from the farmer? Do I know the farmer even?
Sounds expensive.
Right.
My nails is fine.
Can you see why I like fasting?
But if I fast, I'm still not getting the minerals, right?
I know, but all of these problems that we're addressing in order to eat healthy is expensive. So I'll come back to that comment in a second because that's a good one to address. Let's use a typical person. They're eating everything we've talked about. They're eating all the obesogens. They're gaining weight. Their toxic load is high. They're not getting enough vitamins. They're not getting enough minerals. Their hair is falling out. A woman's menstrual cycle is off. Their skin is changing. Weird stuff is showing up. For that person, if all I do is say, hey, I want you to eat your fruits and vegetables from a regenerative farm, now, okay, we're adding some minerals back in. So we're starting to get some of the nutrients that person was supposed to be getting, but was actually getting all those toxins were depleting that person's system. So we start to get them eating fruits and vegetables from a regenerative farm. Now they're getting the nutrients they need that are being depleted by these chemicals.
He wasn't listening, Lord. I feel like he got her repeating herself. She been said that. Follow, boy, follow.
Okay, so that's why in that context, just eating good, healthy fruits and vegetables is important. But what if we put them in a fasted state? Let's take that person one step further. They're metabolically challenged. They're full of toxins. 2 hours long. Let's put that each day. Let's start to tack on a fasting window. In that fasting window, we're starting to see glucose come down. We're starting to see the body repair and heal itself. Okay. Now, when they open up their eating window, we can have them add in minerals. So we can have them added in, or they can still eat more fruits and vegetables from regenerative farms, but they have to prioritize minerals. In our community, we actually will have people add in minerals in the fasted window. Like take a mineral supplement, take an electrolyte supplement, put it in your fasting window so you're adding that support in.
And when you say minerals, what exactly are you referring to?
Well, there's a lot of different ones, right? So magnesium, zinc, selenium.
Okay.
Those are the biggies.
Okay. And it's expensive, so can I just supplement it?
Right.
Because that's cheaper.
Right. So the reason I like the fasting window is because we're changing the metabolic system.
Mm-hmm.
And now we go into the eating window. Let's just at least start with fruits and vegetables coming from regenerative farms if you don't want to spend money on supplements. If you have the resources to spend money on supplements, go ahead and do that.
And is there anything else that I should be looking for as a sort of marker of or a signal of my overall health? We said the eyes, we said the feet, we said the nails.
I just want to add, she is advocating for supplements, but make sure if you get these supplements, you got to make sure that these supplements are organic supplements. Don't go out there and get them capsules that's coated with some kind of plastic. Pause right there. Okay. And then what is that plastic made up of? Is that something that should be inside of your body? And what other ingredients that they put inside these supplements? And then that's basically it. You want to check how they manufacture these supplements and what other ingredients are inside these supplements. If you're going to buy a supplement, make sure if you're going to buy a what we grow garlic supplement, make sure it just says garlic. That's all it should say. And you really shouldn't have to go buy a garlic supplement. You could buy garlic out the store and eat that. Eat half of it and put the other half in the ground. That way you won't have to buy no more. And it's cheaper to go buy some garlic than to go get the supplement.
The hair, the
hair,
skin.
how quickly your hair grows, the quality of your hair. Like, is it always have the same moisture and texture?
What's your view on alcohol?
Oh, I don't think we need to hear that part. I'm just playing. Welcome in, Food Forest Permaculture. Welcome in, Howie. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you. Howie says a healthy body and a healthy mind will make a healthy choice. That's right. An unhealthy body and an unhealthy mind makes unhealthy choices. He says, hello, everyone. Hello, fellow earthlings and Bayou Sugar. Hello, Howie. Welcome in. Oh, Lord. Mike, do we want to hear this about the alcohol? Let's hear it.
Ooh, this is a good one. There's never a moment where alcohol is a health food. Let's just be clear on that. So I think the research on alcohol and brain health needs to be honored. Dr. Amen, I know he's been on your podcast and he has been very clear on that stance. A lot of people have. Not great for brain health. Not great for liver health, because when there's alcohol in your liver, then you're now shutting down your liver's ability to burn fat and to detox and do all the other things. All it's doing is taking care of the alcohol toxin. So not great for both of those.
Hormones?
Not great for hormones, because you need your liver to break down estrogen. So and all the other ones, but specifically, so hot flashes, very common to see hot flashes go up when women have a glass of wine or not. So that's the downside. What's the upside?
There's an upside.
Before she get to the upside, she done tore us out the frame about the alcohol. So, but she gonna give us a good side. We're gonna listen to the good side. Howie says best nutrients is on the end of your fork from plant to plate to person that you grow. That's right. From your garden. That's the best nutrients you can get. Let's see what she say.
Well, I'm gonna throw it out as I'm gonna be careful I say this, because I know people are gonna take my words and try to make them absolutes. When you're drinking a lower alcohol, that is clean alcohol, like a wine that hasn't been sprayed with pesticides, that doesn't have a lot of toxins, doesn't have a ton of added sugars in it, then you are now putting somebody into a temporary lower cortisol state. So you're bringing down their glucose, you're calming them down if they've been wound up from the day. And so they're a little more in a relaxed state, and they might be a little more social. Every once in a while, I'm not talking every day, every once in a while you splash a glass of wine into your life. You have a connection, a glass. I'm not talking a lot. You have a deeper connection because you're more relaxed. What happens when we're connecting with others?
Oxytocin.
That's right. You're bringing oxytocin up. Now, I really want people to hear me through on this one, because I know my words will get very twisted on this one. I want to be really clear. In this scenario, you've taken somebody who might have been very stressed out, had a really horrible day. They were not looking to connect with their spouse. They couldn't connect because their brain is like looping. You give them a glass of wine on that one part of the day, at the end of the day, and all of a sudden they're in a little more relaxed state and they're more in a place where they want to connect. And so oxytocin now goes up.
And then the problem, I guess, is the next day they go to work, they have another shit day, they come home, they drink the wine again.
The problem is that.
Yeah. If you could isolate it and not cause this sort of addiction cycle, then in isolation.
Okay, I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
I mean, I really, the nuance on that is so important.
I get what she's saying. If you can consume it, but not consuming it to fix the problem, Yeah, I can get what she's saying on that. Howard says, drink red wine to live a long, healthy life as Jesus did. Yes, some cultures, it's part of their culture to drink a glass of wine with every meal. I will be curious to know what their health cycles is. I mean, what their health is, how it affects their health statuses. Yeah, that's what I was. Thank you, God's desire. She said, learn to manage the stress instead of, using the wine to manage the stress. Learn to manage it. Yeah. She says, meditation and prayer helps to manage your stress. Yep. All good points. Good points. Everyone.
Because people will literally come after me and say, I said alcohol is a health food. I'm not saying that. In the example that I just gave, where do we leave room for human connection? How do we get out of this drive, overproduction, so stressed out I can't connect with people? Where is health in that?
Breath work?
Yeah, if they'll do breath, yeah, there's a lot of other things. You're right. There's a lot of other things. So I want to but let's put it in this context because it needs to live in a scenario that we do. You go out with friends, you eat good food, you have a glass of wine, you're enjoying each other, you're enjoying life. Is that dangerous?
Would the world be a better place if alcohol didn't exist?
So I'm going to pause it right there. Let me read this. Mike says, portion sizes, a glass with food is different than killing a bottle before bed. Yeah. And then, so I kind of took it to where when she explained it, kind of like she was saying, let's fix what's stressing them out. So if it's their job and stuff and they're stressing them out, fix that. Instead of having them have to continue to deal with that stressor over and over and over again. That shouldn't be technically, really, if you really think about it, that's if it's your, for example, we use work as a that's their stressor. Your job shouldn't be stressing you like that. If it's stressing you, then to me you need to change that job, or you should be doing something that you love. Now eventually, even if you're doing something that you love, every now and then it'll stress you out or cause you some stress. But then that's when you can use the other things like the meditation and the prayer and all of that. But I think if we can get to the root cause, I think that's what she was saying. Instead of having to outsource the problem, trying to heal the symptoms. Like to me, the stress is a symptom of the root problem. And the root problem is whatever is causing that stress, be it your job, be it your significant other, your spouse, your children, your bills, or whatever. You got to manage it, fix that problem, and then, you know, you won't have the stress. How it says, sugar feeds mold, yeast, and fungus inside every earthling. Yes, it does. It's very addictive it is as it is one molecule different. What is that? He said correct potential hydrogen level that is, and how you correct it is by eating alkaline food by 80%. Mike says in Italy they split a bottle, 8 people with dinner. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's not too much. Yeah. Yep. Sugar is one molecule different than cocaine. Right. Ain't that crazy? That's crazy. Like one element different. Yes, she's saying wine temporary fixes it, not a cure. Yeah. Yeah. That's what I was thinking. The French drink wine with food and have the healthiest hearts in the world. Wow. Okay. But like 3 ounces, we think a glass. Yeah, you're right. I didn't think about that, Mike. We think a glass is like 16 ounces. Yeah, our wine glasses are huge compared to theirs. I think some culture I saw, like it looked like, I think that's what you're saying, Mike. The 3 ounces, it'd be a little tiny little glass. Well, it ain't even a glass, a little tiny little cup. It'd be small, like something that you go and taste. Get a going Baskin Robbins or something, and you want to taste the ice cream, and they give you the little pink spoon with the small little cup. Yeah, it's just a little bit. It's just a little bit of wine, and yeah, I'm thinking about a glass, like yeah, the big wine glasses that we have. It's a total difference. Italy has many people that live 100 years. Well, a soda at McDonald's is 32. Yep, that's the large cup is 32 ounces. And then the medium is 21. And then the small is 16. I know because I used to work there. Dang, Sylvia, so I forgot you were coming back. I just left. Just getting back. Welcome back, Sylvia. Welcome back. Welcome back. Let's see. We ain't got much left on this one.
Well, I think a lot of people would say yes.
I'm going to let it play to the end.
I mean, people who have dealt with alcoholics would definitely say yes.
Because I feel like we would have just found a different way to connect.
Maybe.
You know, this idea that alcohol helps us to connect is probably because of the way we've designed the world. Like bars, restaurants, pubs,
maybe
all those kinds of things. And I feel like if we'd never discovered the invention, we would have just found another way. You go to other parts of the world where they don't really drink, they do kind of have another way. Like I was in Bali and they do these like ecstatic dances where it's like, have you ever seen one of these things? It's daytime. They have the music blaring and everyone is just going absolutely crazy. They're like dancing as if they're all absolutely hammered and they're doing it in daytime. And then they're, when I look at it, I go, absolutely never. I'm never doing it. But my partner does it all the time. And I go, but it's just, and I look at these people and I go, do you not realize that you look weird? And I'm saying that through the lens of this social construct I have that behavior is not normal or acceptable.
Right.
You know what I mean? But it's literally like people are going wild in the daytime to music together in a room.
And they have to be feeling amazing.
They must feel amazing.
Yeah.
So connected, so free. Right. But it's just weird over here. No, I mean, ecstatic dancing is a thing over here. In fact, it's happens upstairs in the studio.
Okay.
But it's not something.
So that's oxytocin.
Of course, yeah.
So maybe we should frame all of this under what's going to give you oxytocin. We need to do more oxytocin-rich activities so that we can make sure we keep human connection up, because human connection is so incredibly important. And so if ecstatic dance is your thing, great. You know, again, to your point, like the glass of wine every once in a while might put you in that mood to be able to connect in all of these ways. So that might be a tool, but not every day. So, but we have to bring back this idea. Oxytocin is the most powerful hormone on the planet. So when we're sitting at home and we're isolating ourselves, and we are in disconnection and we're pointing fingers and we're yelling at each other, like we're raising cortisol, we're not raising oxytocin. But if you bring oxytocin up, as soon as oxytocin comes in, cortisol goes down. One of my recommendations to menopausal women that aren't sleeping is start petting your dog. Like just pet your dog before you go to bed, because that's going to give you oxytocin. It's going to bring the cortisol down from the day. And is going to put you in a more relaxed state so you can get yourself into bed. If you don't have a dog, you know, hug somebody. But we have to look at oxytocin as a healing hormone. And what we're talking about is this end of the day. And what I think happens is we go produce, and then, okay, no, now I'm done. And then we go and maybe pop on social media.
I know what y'all married people do for y'all go to bed to get y'all oxytocin. Not even just married people, y'all couples, y'all be bumping guts. Let me stop. Howie says There is 100 trillion creatures that live inside every earthling. Feed the good ones, and starve the bad ones. That is from Dr. Bruce Lipton. Very good advice. Very good advice. What's going on? Oh, shoot. I done clicked on something. Let me erase that. She said, pause. Ain't no pause. Welcome in, Sam Potlow. Pamper. Thank you for being here. Appreciate you. That's what the lady said, that you need to hug somebody to calm down. So, that's what them people do. Them couples do. Look, Sylvia say bumping bellies. Yep. So now you can tell hey, I need to get my cortisol levels right.
And then we're like, oh my God, that person doesn't think like I think, or this person's saying something wrong. And we just keep amping up our cortisol. If we go back to, you asked me about my daily routine, I feel like the morning should be oxytocin filled. You can let your day be cortisol filled if that feels right to you. And then when you end the day, bring oxytocin back in. How are you going to do that is personal to you.
Is there a link between oxytocin and diet? If I'm in an oxytocin state, am I more likely to choose a certain food? And I was thinking here about oxytocin rises when I hug my partner, for example. Mm-hmm. So I was also thinking, does that mean that people that don't have a dog, don't have a partner, don't have friends, people that are lonely have less oxytocin, maybe more cortisol, and are therefore more likely to eat poorly? I don't know.
Oh yeah, because cortisol is high. Cortisol is going to spike appetite and going to make you want to eat more. So yeah. But for that person, so, there's a thing called havening where you just rub your own arms.
And that releases oxytocin?
Yeah, and it calms you. It releases oxytocin. You're literally loving on yourself. And it upregulates the parasympathetic nervous system. It takes you out of the amygdala. And you're just rubbing yourself and on your arms.
It's a bit of a stretch.
Okay, I can rub myself.
This is how my brain works. So theoretically, hugging myself can help me lose weight.
She said rub yourself. She didn't say you had to hug yourself. She said rub yourself. Pause. Howie says, say no to sugar and say no to carbohydrates. That is dirty fuel, as it plugs up the mitochondria, which is the powerhouse of a human cell. Yes. Say no to the bad stuff. Yes to the good ones. Empower your powerhouse of your cells. Gardening is great. She say, hug yourself. Everybody, give yourself a hug. Just hug yourself right now. Give yourself some love. That's what Martin used to do, huh? Give me love. Y'all silly.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, you can make the reel on that one.
Yeah. But just what I'm saying, so higher oxytocin, lower cortisol, I'm going to make better food choices. Yeah. Therefore, I'm going to be more likely to lose weight and make better dietary choices across the board.
So it's something I call the hormonal hierarchy. So at the top, let's start with the bottom. At the bottom of the hormonal hierarchy is sex hormones: progesterone, estrogen, and testosterone. Above that is insulin. So if you're insulin resistant, you're going to throw those sex hormones off. Okay. Above insulin is cortisol. If you're stressed out, I mean, this is another thing we saw in our community. If you're so stressed out all the time, it's going to be very difficult for you to get into these deep states of ketosis. It may be very difficult for you to lose weight. So we got to handle something to help you handle stress.
And the behavioral point there, which is what I know so well, is the choices I make in that state.
That's right.
Are bad.
That's right. So, but what do you do? I'm going to go with, what if you're 48 years old, you're a perimenopausal woman, your hormones are all over the place, you're just agitated and irritable, and you can't get yourself out of that loop, and cortisol is surging. You go eat because that feels that you're like, give me some dopamine is what you're looking for there. If we could just take that moment and get that woman to think about connection, can think about laughter, can think about gratitude, things like that. Think about petting your dog. Think about going for a walk out in nature. These kind of things start to raise oxytocin and they start to decrease cortisol. And it seems like we toss that aside. We're like, oh, that's so frivolous. It's like, no, actually, it's not. Like there was I had a guy on my podcast recently that was saying that they had just done a study on smokers, and they had found that smokers that had positive relationships in their life compared to smokers that were lonely and didn't have as many positive relationships, the lonely smokers had a higher incidence of lung cancer than ones that had positive relationships in their life. That is the power of human connection. And that is oxytocin bringing down all the other hormones and regulating them.
And it kind of insulates us, doesn't it, from the stresses of life?
Yeah.
It's like insulation.
That's right.
Human connection insulates us against disease, against, I guess, even poor dietary choices in that regard. Is that in part why I have a toolbox in the corner of the room? Because we talked about, there's a toolbox over here.
This is why you have a toolbox.
So it's a Diary of a CEO toolbox. This is cool. This is really fucking cool.
It's your special toolbox.
So I have this toolbox in the corner of the room. Sometimes my team, they do these little experiments. So they'll bring something to the podcast from doing research on the guest I'm speaking to, and then they'll put it there. I have to be honest, I haven't opened this toolbox. It's a Diary of a CEO toolbox, which is quite cool. We will sell these online. That's a good way to make a quick buck. But who should open this toolbox? Because I know you know what's in this.
Yes.
And I swear on everything that I haven't opened it.
Okay. You want me to open it?
I think you should open it. Okay. And explain why you brought a toolbox.
So the first thing that I want to say is whenever you're looking at your health, you need to think about what's your toolbox. How many tools do you need in here? Which ones do you need? Which ones are appropriate to you? Okay. So we talked about this in the beginning. If I was going to remodel a room, which I wouldn't be doing because I don't know how to do that. But let's say I wanted to change the construction of a room. I would bring my toolbox in. I wouldn't pull out the hammer and say, and the screwdriver and be like, the hammer's better than the screwdriver. I don't need the screwdriver. The hammer's better than the screwdriver. I would look around the room and I'd be like, okay, there's going to be a moment I need the hammer. There's going to be a moment I need the screwdriver. I might, and I don't know what size screwdriver. I live in an old house. And, sometimes you need a Phillips head. Sometimes you don't. Like I would have different tools. This is how we should be looking at health. And what's happening is we're looking for the one-offs. So I want everybody to create a toolbox. So here's how we look at it. So, okay, some days I get up and I'm like, you know what? Today, there's fun tools in here that I have been eating so bad and I haven't been getting my minerals or my vitamins. So I better load up on my supplements. Mm-hmm. So today I just haven't been eating well. I need to load up on my supplements. I'm going to use my supplements.
Okay.
Do you use supplements every day?
Not every day.
How come?
Because sometimes I don't feel like I need them because I've had them I feel like I've had those supplements through my diet. So for example, if I've been in my house in Cape Town, I probably don't need my vitamin D. But when I've been in a studio every day for days on end, I think probably my vitamin D is probably low.
That's right. So you use this as it's supposed to be used, as a supplement.
Hint, supplement. Let me pause and read what Howie said. Cortisol is made in the liver and it gets a bad rap. It's the glucose and the high cortisol that makes sticky plaque and hence causes strokes and heart attacks. Yep. So y'all listening for y'all toolbox? She said you only take those supplements when you need them.
To a lifestyle. So when your lifestyle all of a sudden now goes in a new direction, you don't need that supplement. Mm-hmm. Okay? So it's a tool.
Okay.
Now, I always tell people if you're on the same supplement over and over and over again, like it may not be working for you anymore. So, okay, so there's supplement. Then some days, let's say you've been working too much.
On them supplements too.
This is heavy. And you're going to go work out.
Yeah.
It's heavy. And so today, like you've decided, you know what? I've been traveling a lot. I haven't been prioritizing strength training. Today, my tool is strength training. So I'm going to make sure that I power up on weights today. Mm-hmm. We could have had a shoe in here and been like, on another day, I might decide that I need to do more cardio. What's better, strength training or cardio?
This is a trick question.
It is.
Neither.
Right.
Neither are better. It's
That's right.
Context dependent.
That's right. But we have a lot of discussions in the health world right now about which one's better.
Yeah, people are fighting over which one's more important.
You got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then what if I want to fast? Here's my empty plate. What if I decide, you know what, today I need to get to autophagy. I need to shed some of those cells that are dysfunctional. So I'm going to make sure that I fast longer today because I need to access that internal part of me. Okay, there's my little clock. So today I'm just going to set my timer and I'm going to fast for 17 hours because I need autophagy. Okay, one day I wake up and I don't feel like fasting. So is fasting right or not fasting? Which tool's right? They're both the same. When are you going to use them?
When you need to.
Got it. Okay. Then all of a sudden I realize I haven't really been prioritizing protein. I like eggs. They've got lots of choline in them. I better power up on eggs today so that I can, because we know choline helps with brain health. So eggs are phenomenal. Are they phenomenal every day?
Some days more than others.
Right.
Okay,
I have a more brain power I need today. Maybe I'll do so. We'll go ahead and power up on an egg, but it doesn't mean we have eggs every day. Okay,
I want eggs every day.
My hunger's been off the chart. I can't stabilize my blood sugar. I'm going to add more fats in. I'm going to have an avocado. So I pull out my avocado one day and now I eat it. And all of a sudden I'm like, wow, that's so much better. Like I can fast longer the next day. I feel like my blood sugar is more stable. I'm more mentally clear. Is the avocado the hero?
Not always.
Not always. It was just your body needed more fat that day. Okay. What about, for my menopausal friends, all of a sudden I'm getting hot flashes. And I realize I haven't really been prioritizing fiber. I haven't really been giving cruciferous vegetables to my liver. Maybe I've been drinking a little too much. So I'm going to need to power up on my cruciferous, fibrous vegetables to help support my liver.
For anyone just on audio, she's pulled out some broccoli from the toolbox.
Broccoli.
Yeah.
So now, all of a sudden,
I hope that y'all getting a hint by now that she's showing a whole bunch of things that we don't need to consume every day. You only need to consume when you need to. How it says biorhythm love negative ions found near water and in rain. So good vibrations like love will give you a fantastic biorhythm. So you live to be a 100 without illnesses. Oh, that sounds good. He said rain, so it's good for rainwater, for us to catch rainwater. We know something, we getting something. Cousin Angela said she was still watching my other live from today. How it says, yay, eat your nutraceuticals. I got tongue tied there. She said, I want avocado Sylvia, you want avocado? I want eggs every day. Jag say, I eat eggs every day. You don't have to, Jag. Jag's eggs. That rhymes. Eggs are like eating vitamins, right? You don't need to eat them every day because you only need to eat them when you need to eat them. Look, God's desire is telling you. Your body is always telling you what you need. That's why we need to do our research on these things that we grow and find out what are their medicinal uses, because some things we eat as food is not food, it's medicine. It's supplements. Hence, eggs is one of them. And I do want to eat eggs every day with cheese, but I shouldn't.
and I eat more broccoli. I'm all of a sudden noticing that my hot flashes are going away. Is the broccoli the reason my hot flashes went away?
That day it is, right?
If that day it was, because your liver needed more support and your gut needed more fiber to be able to break. Remember, we have a whole set of bacteria in our gut called the estrobolome that to be able to break down estrogen so it's usable for your cells.
So I'm going to tell y'all one thing that I realized, what I thought about when she said about eating stuff every day. Don't eat it every day. I love liver. I could eat liver every day, but I eat it occasionally when I have a taste for it. And most of the time I eat it when I feel like my iron is low. And when I feel like my iron is low and I eat liver, boom, instantly after I finish eating it, I'm good. So liver is a supplement for me. How it says, chew your food 50 times to get nutrients, as the food is low in nutrients that grows in poor soil. Right. So eat your vitamins too. Yep, eat them. Don't get them supplements. Oh, he on a carnivore diet, so he eat eggs every day. So you do need them if you're on a carnivore diet. That's your supplement. Yep.
Same thing with the thyroid, like we talked about. Maybe all of a sudden your metabolism speeds up because you gave your liver and gut a better choices. And so now your thyroid starts working better for you. All of these go on and on and on. They're all just tools. The last one is the one we've been talking about.
Oh, wow. Look at that. An amazing product.
What if I haven't prioritized oxytocin? I've been working too much. I haven't been really, like my friends, I haven't really been prioritizing friends or family. I know I got to get together with them, but they don't really want to hear about my workload. So let me figure out another way to connect to them. So I'm going to grab this really cool Diary of a CEO conversation cards. And I'm going to take that over and I'm going to tell my friend, I just want to hang out with them and we're going to have a good conversation. These are all tools. The goal of health is for us all to create a unique toolbox, one that works for us that becomes effortless over time. If we stick with rigidity, if we're like, animal protein is the best. No, plant protein is the best. Fasting is good. No, fasting's not good. Oh, we should be strength training. No, we should be doing cardio. All of these things in isolation are not health. When we put them together and we customize them for our own specific needs, now we are on our own health path. But we can't isolate them anymore.
Yes.
We have a closing tradition on this podcast where the last guest leaves a question for the next guest, not knowing who they're leaving it for. And the question that's been left for you is, dear guest, first person to ever say that, dear guest, are you in love with life? And is life loving you back?
Okay, we don't need to know that. We're going to get ready for the next video. Howie says, liver is a filter, so eat it only from organic free range animals. I eat chicken liver. I'm gonna have to when I read it, I'm gonna have to look and see if it's organic free range, and I eat calf liver. That's the only kinds that I eat, chicken and calf. I love chicken liver. Chicken livers, I love it. It says squeeze a lemon in water as soon as you wake up to clean the liver and lymph nodes from the night of cleaning. Yes, and I drink lemon water throughout the day as well. Especially when I'm on the fast. That's what I drink. When I'm at work, I drink lemon water. When I'm at home, I just drink bottled water. I don't add too much lemon to it, and I drink my coconut water. So I just want to say y'all are a part of my toolbox. Hey. So, and today I'm using my tools out of my toolbox. All right, so we're gonna close on that video, but we're gonna continue with the next one that we didn't finish talking about. What were we talking about? Insulin. So let me pull that up while y'all take a little stretch. If you need a little stretch break, get you a little stretch break. And we're going to finish the other half of our video. While I'm loading that up, let me know in the comments if you guys are enjoying the content. If you have any comments or questions, go ahead and put them in the chat. Let's see how he says. Let's see how he says. Your lymph is done draining by 2 p.m. no matter where you are on the planet. So drink your lemon water when you wake. Oh, he said 2 a.m. Sorry, 2 a.m. Okay, it's done at about 2 a.m. So drink your lemon water. Let me see where we stopped at. Okay, so I think where we stopped at, where they was talking about how Alzheimer's is how Alzheimer's is contributed to insulin resistance. So let me share my screen and we'll continue that discussion. I'm pretty sure I don't know if we're going to finish that tonight, but I'm going to try my best. Y'all hanging in here with me, so we're going to get it done. Where I am, it's only 9:19, so it's 10 Central and 11 Eastern. So it's about time for the night owls. Okay, let's see. How he says this flushes out the toxins that the lymph is getting rid of. Oh, you're talking about your lemon water. Your lemon water. All right, let's start right here.
And the brain is a very hungry organ. It is in what I teach is a trinity of high metabolic rate organs. That there are 3 organs in the body whose metabolic rate is so high that it just really sets it apart from everything else. And the brain is one of them. The brain has a very high metabolic rate. So this is a very hungry organ that needs a lot of energy all the time. But the brain is unique in that it primarily will only use 2 fuel sources, and I've mentioned them, namely glucose and ketones. But glucose, in that section of the brain that gets compromised with Alzheimer's disease, the glucose can't just come straight in. It needs someone to open the door for it. And that is insulin, of course, just like we described with the muscle cell, where in order for the glucose to go into the muscle, insulin had to come and knock on the door, if you will. And then the muscle, being a polite, responsive host, would open and allow the glucose to come in. The brain is similar, that in that section of the brain, it has doors that need insulin. It's locked until insulin comes and opens them. So even though glucose levels may be high in the blood, like in type 2 diabetes, you would think, well, the brain can just get all the glucose it wants. And yet it cannot, because it has insulin regulating the entrance of the glucose. And if the brain is insulin resistant, there's not enough glucose coming in. And thus the brain is forced to rely on the only other fuel that it can rely on, namely ketones. But the same person who's eating all the time to keep their blood glucose high all the time has so much insulin in their blood that they're never making enough ketones to fill the gap. And mind the gap. And the brain has an energy gap now, and where the brain needs, an amount of energy. I'm kind of acting it out
It's
for those
early
who are
where you
watching.
at,
The brain has a certain energy demand that it needs. And if there's a lot of glucose in a healthy insulin-sensitive person, glucose will fill all of that need. But as the brain becomes progressively insulin resistant, it cannot get all of its energy from glucose, and thus there's an energetic gap. And in the absence of ketones, there's nothing to fill that gap. And the brain says, well, I don't have enough energy to keep functioning as well as I did before, so I have to reduce my function, which manifests as a reduction in the ability to think and process. In other words, cognition goes down. But what's so interesting is I just got finished describing a scenario that scientists refer to as brain glucose hypometabolism,
Hey,
or a
Miss T.
reduction in the amount of glucose the brain is using. There are scientists that measured this We don't in my lab because we don't do these kinds of techniques, but you can actually infuse people with the glucose that you can take pictures of and see how much the brain is taking it in and metabolizing it. In Alzheimer's disease, the brain is not getting as much glucose, so they call that a hypo, or a reduction in metabolism of glucose. And as much as you and I are describing that scenario as relevant for Alzheimer's disease, you can essentially open up the book of neurological disorders and see the same thing. Depression has a brain glucose hypometabolism to it. Migraines have a brain glucose hypometabolism.
Wow.
Epilepsy and Parkinson's disease. So all of these disorders of the brain, of the central nervous system, the one thing they all have in common is the brain isn't getting enough energy from glucose.
Okay, so in simple terms, Howie says, "Good night, fellow Earthlings. I love you all very much. Good night, Howie." He says the difference between glucose and carbohydrates is sugar spike is 2 hours and carbs last 36 hours. So say no to both. Yeah, Miss C say, "Hey," like she say on her show. Hey. So in simple terms, what he's saying is, what was my thought? I'm trying to say it as easy, as simple as possible. All of those diseases that he named, diseases of the brain, bottom line is because they can't get the glucose into that area. Like, the body is resisting insulin. It's insulin resistant. It's rejecting the signal from insulin. Insulin is knocking on the door of that area of your brain and is saying, "Hey, I have this glucose you need. Open up." But the body is not, the brain is not accepting it. So if you hear anybody else or any other explanations of anybody telling you that Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, migraines are from something else, disregard that. That is no longer true, because they found that the studies that people have, whoever submitted the studies for this, was false. They falsified the documents. And so they have found that the reason for these diseases is because your body is insulin resistant and it is not taking in the glucose as it needs. As a result, how do you reverse this? Parkinson's can be reversed. Alzheimer's can be reversed. Migraines, if you have a migraine, here's what you need to do. Water fast for 12 hours at least. Then go back to eating your no sugar added carbs, foods, period. No sugar added foods. And consume 225 to 325 grams of carbs a day. And eat your meals according, I would say, eat your meals within those, after those 12 hours, eat your meals, small meals. You don't need no 4 or 5 servings of each meal. Change your portion sizes. Eat those small servings. And it will get rid of, your body will reset itself basically after fasting. And then after, to break your fast, you need to drink something or eat something like a probiotic, which you said hemp seeds, or I usually drink some water or coconut water, and then I eat something light like a piece of fruit or something like that. She said avocados is good. You need things like that, and that will help with migraines. You won't have them anymore.
And another way of saying that is, the one thing all of those seemingly unrelated brain problems have in common is that they all have some degree of insulin resistance. But then it's no surprise that they all benefit when ketones can swoop in to save the day. But that only can happen if the person is giving their body a break from the insulin long enough to actually start making ketones.
Really, really interesting on this point of Alzheimer's, because I don't think people have spent enough time talking about the link between insulin resistance and Alzheimer's. And one of the things I was looking at there was how many people with Alzheimer's meet the criteria for insulin resistance. And some studies have it at 40%. There's a study I found here that has it at 70 to 80%.
God's desire is suggesting for y'all too. No sugar, no processed foods, and reduce dairy. And if you do pick up those processed foods, turn those labels around. Look at the front of the label, make sure it says non-GMO and organic, and then turn that label around and read those ingredients. How it says no pasta, no potatoes, no rice, no bread, no sweets at all. See ya. He just had to throw that little piece in there for y'all.
Which I wanted to cite. Exact percentages vary, but one example is a study in the Journal of Neurology in 2011 that found insulin resistance at approximately 40% of individuals with Alzheimer's. But another study in Alzheimer's patients sometimes found it to be as high as 70 or 80%. For instance, research by Dr. Suzanne De La Monte at Brown University has drawn attention to the concept of type 3 diabetes.
Yeah, again, I don't love the term, but I appreciate the use of it, which is, it does suggest a metabolic origin. But even you look at those ranges, Stephen, you'd say, well, one was 40, one was 80. Boy, what a difference. I suspect a lot of that is just how did they measure insulin resistance?
Right.
If they were looking at the glucose, like so many do, you're just going to miss a lot of people.
Yeah, it's quite hard I think there's different criteria, right, for how one defines someone as insulin resistant.
Well, and that's right. That's because there's not enough training, which is at the beginning of the conversation, you asked my mission. One of my missions is to help people learn what to look for.
What do they need to be looking for?
Yeah, they need to be looking at insulin.
I do too, Sylvia.
Is that easy to measure?
Well, it is technically easy to measure. It's just that we don't have enough systems in place to enable it. Like, again, if someone listening in the UK were to go to their GP and say, "Can you measure my insulin?" In many instances, they literally can't get it done. The system just isn't in place to take it to the lab and measure it. Now, some do. I know some physicians in the UK who do so, and they have developed their own way of getting it done, and they're incredible advocates of this whole idea. But it is harder in the UK and in Canada, where the system is such that they have said, out of ignorance, but perhaps well-placed or well-intentioned, they will say, well, insulin isn't a marker that matters. It is. And if you're measuring insulin resistance, just to put things back to where we had talked about it earlier, many people with insulin resistance have normal blood glucose levels. It's the insulin that's high. And so I would say if a person can get their insulin measured, get it measured. In US units, if it is anything above about 10 microunits per mil, that's a warning. In UK units, if it's anything above about 40 picomoles, that's a warning. Insulin is high, you could have insulin resistance.
Make sure you get it checked and don't get confused with getting your insulin checked. Don't get that confused. 5 minutes, oh Lord. Don't get that confused with having your blood sugar checked. Your A1C is not the same as your getting your insulin checked. Guys, it looks like this live, y'all know Evie Mux only let me go live 2 hours at a time. So what I'm about to do is just end this and just restart it over because I really want to finish this out. And since y'all hanging with me, well, we're not going to finish this out. You know what? We're not going to finish this out. Because this video has 1 hour and 43 minutes. So we're going to stop right there. We're going to stop right there since Evie Mux is going to cut me off. And we'll just pick it up another day. So, y'all, I thank y'all for joining me. Thank y'all for tuning in. If anybody has any last comments or suggestions or announcements, anything you would like to say, put it in the chat. But I just want to thank all of y'all for coming in and hanging out with me, helping me use one of my tools in my toolbox, which is fellowshipping with you guys, which is allowing me to be my most healthier self. I thank you all for being here. I hope you enjoy the rest of your weekend. I hope you all will be blessed, happy, and healthy. And I hope you've been listening to what we've been saying and the light bulb has been going off for some of you, because this information that I'm giving you is not something that I'm just repeating because of research that I've done, But we have people here in the chat. You too, Jags. Be blessed. Thank you, Miss Deborah Garrett. We have people in this chat that are living testimonies and let you know that this information works. And all you have to do is take it and tailor it to fit you so that you can succeed. Thank you, Sylvia. Help me understand better about blood sugar and insulin. Oh, that makes me feel so good. I feel like I've accomplished one of my goals. Thank you, Sylvia. I appreciate it. So I'm just hoping that this information helps to help the light bulb go off for someone else. And I'm trying to save people's lives because we've been lied to for so long, and it's causing us, our health is literally killing us. And if you want to live longer, then I suggest that you reach out to somebody about something that you don't understand. Ask questions, do research, do your own research, and keep looking until you find something that you can understand to help you to be your most healthiest self. Thank you, God's desire for me. I appreciate it. So I'm gonna keep sharing my information that I find and that y'all give me. Y'all, if y'all find something, send it to my email and I'll share it. But that's all for tonight. We'll continue with this video. I'm off tomorrow, so I'll probably go live sometime tomorrow and we can finish this up. Hopefully we can finish it up because this is almost 2 hours left on that video. But it's some good information that I want to share with y'all. So I thank y'all for joining me tonight. I hope y'all have a wonderful rest of your weekend. Peace, love, and blessings, everyone. See y'all in these YouTube streets.